You're looking at one of the most iconic middleweight sports bikes ever built, the 2005 to 2006 Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R. And today we're taking her through the city streets, just like she was meant to be ridden. Stick around because this isn't just a ride video, this is the story of a legend. The ZX6R story goes all the way back to 1995. Born into Kawasaki's famous Ninja series, a title it still proudly carries to this day. Over the years, Kawasaki kept pushing, kept evolving, always chasing Honda, Suzuki, and Yamaha. Then in 2003, everything changed. Kawasaki made a bold move and increased the engine capacity to 636 cubic centimeters, bigger than any of its rivals in the super sport class. And in 2005, they took it even further. In 2005, Kawasaki revised the 636 engine with larger cams, a new head, and polished ports. The result? A 636 cubic centimeter, 4-stroke, 4-cylinder, liquid-cooled engine pushing 131 horsepower at 14,000 revolutions per minute and 71 newton meters of torque at 11,500 revolutions per minute. That's not just fast, that's properly fast. At the time, it led the way in the entire super sport class. And here's the thing, Mike, even by today's standards, this engine is still impressive. But power means nothing without control. Kawasaki fitted a matte black aluminum frame with a shortened wheelbase and moved the swing arm pivot point forward, resulting in improved cornering performance and high-speed stability. Up front, you get a 41mm adjustable inverted cartridge fork, and at the rear, a bottom-link uni-track adjustable shock absorber for more linear and precise action. On the city streets, you feel all of this. Every corner, every lane change feels planted and confident. The ZX6R was the most aerodynamically efficient sports bike ever created by Kawasaki at the time, even more streamlined than the flagship ZX10R. One of the most distinctive design choices, the underseat exhaust system, which gave it that clean, aggressive look from every angle. Kawasaki also added a slipper clutch, making downshifts smoother and more controlled, a feature that riders absolutely loved. Here's what makes this bike truly legendary. From 2007, Kawasaki actually dropped the 636 engine and went back to 599 cubic centimeters, and sales suffered because of it. The 636 didn't return until 2013. That tells you everything. Riders didn't want anything else. They wanted the 636. Owners say it will eat any other middleweight out there. And the only bike that kept up with it was a 2015 ZX6R. That speaks volumes about Kawasaki's engineering. Let's talk about what really makes this machine special. Because when you strip away the numbers and the specs, what you're left with is a motorcycle that was simply ahead of its time. Think about this for a second. In 2005, most manufacturers were playing it safe. Honda had the CBR 600RR, Yamaha had the R6, Suzuki had the GSX-R 600. All incredible bikes, all fighting for the same 599 cubic centimeters displacement crown. And then Kawasaki walked in and said, we're doing something different. They gave the ZX6R a 636 cubic centimeters engine, 37 extra cubic centimeters. Doesn't sound like much on paper, but on the road, on the street, You feel every single one of them. Here's why that matters. A standard 599 cubic centimeters Super Sport engine is built to scream. It wants to live at high revs, above 10,000 revolutions per minute, before it really wakes up and starts pulling hard. That's brilliant on a racetrack where you can hold gears and keep the revs up, but on city streets, on real roads with traffic lights, corners, and unpredictable traffic, you need power lower in the rev range. You need torque, and that's exactly what the 636 delivers. That extra capacity means the engine breathes easier at lower revs. It pulls smoothly from 4,000 revolutions per minute. It responds instantly when you crack the throttle in third gear without needing to downshift. It feels effortless, natural, like the bike is working with you instead of demanding that you work for it. And that right there is the genius of Kawasaki's decision. They built a super sport bike that could also be a genuinely enjoyable everyday motorcycle, not just a track weapon that punishes you in traffic. Now let's talk about the chassis, because this is where the ZX6R really separates itself from the competition. He said the aluminum frame was completely redesigned for 2005. Kawasaki's engineers moved the swing arm pivot point forward and shortened the wheelbase. Now those might sound like small technical details, but the result on the road is massive. The bike turns in faster, it feels more agile through tight city corners, but at the same time, it never feels nervous or twitchy at speed. That's an incredibly difficult balance to achieve in motorcycle engineering, and Kawasaki nailed it. The suspension setup is equally impressive. Up front, you have fully adjustable 41mm inverted Showa forks. These aren't just premium components, they're tunable. You can adjust the compression and rebound damping to suit your riding style. Whether you're a casual weekend rider or someone who occasionally pushes hard on a mountain road, this bike adapts to you. At the rear, the Unitrack suspension system delivers what Kawasaki describes as more linear action. What that means in real-world riding is that the rear end feels planted and predictable. You always know what the back tire is doing. And that confidence, that feeling of being connected to the road is what separates a good motorcycle from a great one. Let's talk brakes, because stopping matters just as much as going fast. The 2005 to 2006 ZX6R came equipped with radial mounted 4-piston calipers clamping onto dual 300mm pedal disc rotors up front. Radial mounted calipers were relatively new technology in the middleweight class at this time. The advantage is a more rigid caliper mounting, which translates directly into better brake feel and more consistent stopping power. You get that firm, progressive bite that gives you total confidence whether you're trail braking into a corner or making an emergency stop in city traffic. The rear brake is simple and effective. Exactly what you want. Easy to modulate, never intrusive, always there when you need it. And then there's the slipper clutch, also known as a back torque limiter. This was a genuinely exciting addition to the 2005 ZX6R. When you downshift aggressively, especially coming into a corner fast, a standard clutch can cause the rear wheel to lock or skip as the engine braking kicks in hard. A slipper clutch prevents this by partially disengaging under heavy engine braking. The result is smoother downshifts, more rear wheel stability, and a much more confidence-inspiring riding experience. Features like this were previously reserved for exotic and expensive superbikes. Kawasaki brought it to the middleweight class, and riders loved them for it. Now here's something that often gets overlooked when people talk about this bike: the aerodynamics. Kawasaki didn't just style the bodywork to look aggressive. Every surface, every vent, every angle was designed with function in mind. The fairing channels air efficiently around the rider. The ram air intake feeds cold, dense air directly into the airbox at speed, effectively increasing engine output as your speed rises. And that underseat exhaust, positioned there to centralize mass and keep weight low between the wheels. These are details that separate engineers who truly care from those just building to a price point. And let's talk riding position. The ZX6R puts you slightly forward, weight on the bars, knees gripping the tank, feet set back on the pegs. In the city, it feels exciting and engaging. You feel alert, connected, ready for anything. Then there's the sound, and no spec sheet can capture this. At low revs, the 636 has a deep mechanical character. As you climb past 6,000 revolutions per minute, the exhaust note sharpens. By 14,000 revolutions per minute, red line, it's one of the greatest sounds in motorcycling. Raw, mechanical, alive. Once you've heard a 636 at full chat, you never forget it. And finally, the community. Because a motorcycle is never just a machine, it's a culture. The ZX6R 636 has one of the most passionate owner communities in motorcycling. Forums, riding clubs, YouTube channels, all built around this one bike. 20 years later, people are still riding them, still modifying them, still loving them. That kind of loyalty doesn't happen by accident. It happens when a manufacturer gets everything exactly right. And riding this machine through the city today, I completely understand why. So that's the 2005 to 2006 Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R 636, a bike born to dominate, built to last, and still turning heads 20 years later. If you're riding one, you already know. If you're thinking about one, stop thinking, just ride. Thanks for watching. Drop a comment below telling me what you ride, and subscribe for more chill rides and bike stories. See you on the next one.